Okay, so all we have to do is to make this table, and we will be just putting -3 here, -3 in the middle. Kasi simple substitution, you won't get the correct answer. Okay? And so, after that, let's just follow these patterns of adding 0.001, 0.01, and 0.1, and then subtracting 0.001, 0.01, and 0.1 in or from our -3. So how is that? So kayo na bahala kung paano niyo intindihin yon. But the best way for you, if you cannot simply learn that or recognize those values, you may use your calculator. But I believe you can do this thing even without the calculator. I-add mo lang 0.001. So in here, this will become 3 negative. You just have to add that. So dito, kung mag-a-add ka ng mag-minus ka, that's negative 3.001. Dito is negative 3.01. And then negative 3.1. Can you follow? O dito naman, kasi negative yung value mo, mababawasan niya kasi mag-a-add ka. So this will become negative 2.999. Dito naman is negative 2.99. Dito is negative 2.9. Can you follow? And then, this is what we will be substituting in our equation here. Kasi you will just notice na habang sinasubstitute mo itong mga values na to dito sa ating equation, sa ating function, papalapit ng papalapit yung value na makukuha natin for this undefined term. Okay, let's try this. So it's your choice. Kindly get your calculator. You may use your calculator if you want. So we have here, gagamit ako ng to. So we have x. So simulan ko sa negative 3.1. Negative 3.1. And then square it. Squared. Minus 9. And then equals divided by negative 3.1. Kindly answer it. Plus 3. Okay, so the answer here will be negative 6.1. Negative 6.1. The rest, kindly solve the remaining values using your calculator para mas mabilis. And then tell me the remaining values here. Negative 6.1. Go. Kindly solve these values from here. Stay with these ones. Because later on, we will be identifying the value of your f of x through the pattern that will be formed from this. Go. Kindly solve it. If you have your answers already, kindly type them in the chat box. So sunod-sunod. .01 na ako. So this is negative 6.01. And this is negative 6.001. And then on the other side, 2.99. That is negative 5.999. Negative 5.99. And then negative 5.9. Okay, this is what we mean by this. Let me see. Okay, good. And we got the same answers based on those who solved theirs. So we were able to get the same values. Now, looking at this, ito yung sinasabi natin, as x approaches a certain value for x, merong papalapit ng papalapit ng papalapit yung value natin. And so this is what we mean by limits. Looking at this pattern, ayan, from here, habang papalapit na papalapit, the values are going near to a certain value. And looking at the pattern, what do you think is that certain value that, because of this, by using substitution, by using the table of values, we will arrive at the limit, the value of the limit. What do you think is the value of the limit by using this table of values? Okay, the answer is it 6 or negative 6? Is it 6 or negative 6? Okay, it's negative 6, correct. So that's what we mean when we say limits. So from this table of values itself, nakita natin na habang papalapit ng papalapit ng papalapit yung value doon sa limit natin, then papalapit din ng papalapit yung value ng y natin. Okay? That's what we mean by limits. Okay? So therefore, if you forgot how to do the substitution, the direct substitution, you may as well solve this, especially kung undefined yung given natin. Okay? Show me a reaction so far if everything is clear. Very good. Okay, see? It's so simple. Now, let's move on. Okay, thank you. So, let me clear things up. Okay, game. So, let's now, ayan, same process lang yan. Ulit-ulit lang, table of values. Okay. Now, let's be familiar with the different limit laws. So that when we do this, automatically, alam na natin kung anong gagawin natin. Okay? So we have here the following limit laws. The first one is the constant rule. The constant rule is very easy. Yeah, the constant rule says that the limit of k is, if it's just a number, automatically whatever is the value that x is approaching, the answer will still be the constant. For example, the limit of 100 as x approaches 1,000, the answer will still be what? The constant, which is 100. O, ganun lang siya kasimple. Another, the limit of 5 na yung given natin dito, of 55. As x approaches negative 4, the answer will still be what? The answer will still be the constant. That's 55. Got it? Show me a reaction if the constant rule is clear to you. Let me see. Is constant rule clear? Very good. Okay. Another. The next one is the identity rule. What do we mean by identity rule? When we say identity rule, this time, kapag x yung given mo, wala siyang ibang kasama but only x. And if that's the case, by direct substitution, automatically, you will get the value for your limit by direct substitution. Kasi x lang naman siya. For example, the limit of x as x approaches 5, of course, if we are given this example, di ba, we will just do the direct substitution. And when we substitute this will be equal to 5. Can you follow? So sa madaling salita, kapag x lang yung function mo, automatically, Whatever is your x approaching, that's your answer. Okay? One more. Let's make it a little more difficult. The limit of x as x approaches 1,000. What do you think is the answer? Type the answer in the chat box, please. Okay? Very good. 1,000. As simple as that. That's the value for your limit. Can you follow? Oh, simple. Very good. Show me a reaction, please, based on how you understood the second rule. Very good. Okay, to those who just arrived, kasi kakabalik lang daw ng internet. O, sige, hindi pa kayo nahuhuli. Carry pa. Let's move on with this next one. This may look complicated, but actually, it's just very easy. The third rule is the sum and difference rule. Don't worry, this may seem complicated, but this is just very easy. When we are confronted with the sum and difference rule, of course, kapag meron kang addition na nasa pagitan mo or subtraction sa pagitan ng functions mo, then we will just do this process. Paghihiwa-hiwalayin mo lang sila and you will do the substitution. And actually, we did this already a while ago. For example, we have the limit of yung ginawa natin kanina. Let's say we have x squared plus 4x plus 4 as x approaches 0. Okay, 1 na lang. As x approaches 1. Actually, we did this a while ago by doing direct substitution. The shortcut is a direct substitution. Pero, applying the concept of limits, actually, we did the long process. Sinorte na lang natin yung process na yon. And how did that happen? Actually, what we did here, kung direct substitution, the long process here will be the limit of paghihiwa-hiwalayin yung limits ng bawat term. Can you follow? Oh, let's make this minus na lang para combine na agad yung sum and difference. Ayan. We will just have to separate the terms for their limits. So we will have here the limit of x squared as x approaches 1. And then minus the limit of x1, 4x as x approaches 1. And then plus the limit of 4 as x approaches 1. Can you follow? This is the long process. This is the long method. Pero kapag direct substitution, diretso na siya. And we know that already. So by substituting the limit of x squared, substitute 1, this will become 1. Kasi 1 squared is equal to 1. Can you follow? And then minus, substitute 4 times 1. And then in here, we cannot substitute this kasi constant rule ito. Whatever will be your constant will be your answer, plus 4. So this is just the same as the direct substitution. Para lang alam nyo yung pinanggagalingan ng direct substitution. Galing pala siya sa sum and difference rule. Can you follow? So we will have here 1 minus 4 plus 4. Of course, this will be equal to 1. Can you follow? Show me a reaction if sum and difference rule is clear to you. Let me see. Very good. Simple lang siya. And the shortcut here is the direct substitution. Okay? But no, please remember that direct substitution came from this sum and difference rule. Can you follow? Next, move on. The fourth, this is just easy. The constant multiple rule. Okay. When you say constant multiple rule, we have a constant and we have a function. Okay. So let's have this as an example. The limit of 2 times 4x squared as x approaches 0. I know, ayoko ng 0. As x approach, sige, okay lang 0. Sige. As x, para makita natin yung difference ng value, maging 2 na lang siya. Kaya 3 para cute. Okay. So in here, what we actually do here is the constant here, the 2, when we rewrite its limit, it will become 2. It will be outside the limit. And then this will be the limit of your function, which is 4x squared as x approaches 3. Can you follow? So by doing this, automatically lalabas yun. Can you follow? And so after that, let's just solve it. So by solving this, we will have, this will be 2 times the limit, substitute, 4, let's make bracket, 4 times, substitute this, will become 3 squared. And then simplify, this will become 2 times 4 times 3 squared is 9. And then 4 times 9, 9, 18, 27, 36. So 2 times 36, the answer will be 72. And that will be the value for your limit. Can you follow? Show me a reaction if that's clear to you. Let me see. Very good. Yes, there's a question. Linnea.
Click lang po yung raise hand hindi po na.
Yes, what's that?
Click lang po yung raise hand instead of.
Okay, sige, no problem. Okay, thank you so much. Let's continue. So, constant multiple, ganun lang siya, multiply mo lang. Okay? Let's move on. Multiply and substitute. Let's have now the product rule. Product rule, if in addition and subtraction, you add and subtract, for the product rule, you just multiply their values for their limits. So, how is that? Let's have this as an example. The limit of, yung mukhang komplikado ng konti. The limit of x plus 4 times x minus 1. Ayan, para siyang FOIL method. Ayan. As x approaches 3. Okay, 2 naman, para maiba. So, in here, if in addition, we add and subtract, for the multiplication or for the product rule, we just multiply and do the limits for each term. So, therefore, this will become the limit of, let's have first the first term. Yan, yun muna mauna. The limit of x plus 4 as x approaches 2. Can you follow? And then multiply it by the second. Dito na tayo sa susunod. Dito na. So we will have the limit of x minus 1 as x approaches 2. Can you follow? And then just evaluate the limits. So substitute, this will become 2 plus 4. This will become 6. And then since they are enclosed in a bracket, we are multiplying, of course, because we are doing the products rule. So 6 times, substitute this, 2 minus 1, that's 1. So therefore, the answer here is 6. Can you follow? Show me your reaction, please, based on how you understood products rule. Let me see. Everybody is encouraged to react. Yan, para makita ko kung kumusta yung learning process natin. Very good. Okay, so far, so good. And of course, if in addition and subtraction, we add and subtract, in product rule, we multiply. Of course, in the quotient rule, what will we do? Nothing but divide the values. Oh, let's have this as an example. Ito na natin lang ng basic calculus. Okay, let's have this one. Yan. For our quotient rule, we just separate the limits or the terms for their limits, express them in limits, and then solve. So let's have this as an example. The limit of, sir, possible po ba na fraction yung given na x? Yes. So, subukan natin. Okay, game. O, kung gusto nyo fraction, o, sige, gawin natin. So the limit of x squared over x plus 2. Yan. As x approaches. Since may nag-request sa atin, possible po ba na fraction yung given sa x? Yes, of course. As x approaches 1/2. For example. So, kung sa graph nun yun, kung halimbawa ito yung graph, if this is your graph, for example, ayan, at x, this is 1. Dito yung 1/2 mo nun. This is 1/2, of course. And then, dito mo aabangan. Kung ito yung iyong graph, ayun, so, yung limit mo nun ay nandito. Ayun, nandun yung limit mo. Kasi dito sa 1/2 ng x tumitingin. Can you follow? So, that's also possible. It's also possible to have a fraction for your approaching value, for the value that the x approaches. Let's have this. Of course, this is quotient rule kasi naka-division ka. This will be expressed as pag-iwalayin. Let's start first with our numerator. So this will become the limit of x squared as x approaches 1/2 over, next will be your denominator, the limit of x plus 2 as x approaches 1/2. Okay? And then let's just evaluate it. So to evaluate this will become substitute. This will be 1/2 squared over this one, substitute 1/2 plus 2. Can you follow? And then by simplifying it, this will become 1/4 over, nilalagyan ko ng 0 kapag complex fraction just for me to be reminded which is my main fraction bar. Okay, ano yon, technique yon ng mga nagsosolve sa math. So yung main fraction mo, lagyan mo ng bilog sa bandang dulo. Wag naman yung OA na bilog, ha? Yung saktong bilog lang, just for you to recognize which is your main fraction bar. Okay? Especially kapag fractions yung nasa numerator and denominator mo. And this time, 1/2 plus 2, this is 2.5. And so that's 5 over 4. 5 over 2. 5 over 2. Kasi 2.5. Yan. Correct. And then, of course, to simplify this will become 1/4 times the reciprocal of your denominator, which is 2 over 5. The final answer will be 1 over 5. That's it. Nagmukha lang siyang mahaba kasi nag-fraction tayo dun sa x value natin. But the process will just be easy and the same. Can you follow? Show me a reaction so far if the quotient rule is clear to you. Sir, bakit po naging... Sorry, nasan tayo? Ay, sorry. Yes. Sorry. Sir, bakit po naging 1/2? Di ba 1/4 po yan? Ayun, thank you. Yes, I missed it. I mislooked it. Ayan, that's 1/4. Thank you for that. Times, okay, got it. 2 over 5. Ayan, thank you for the correction. So, by simplifying it, this will become 2. And so, because of that, the final answer will be 1 over 2 times 5, 10. Ayun, thank you for that. I mislooked that 4 and changed it to 2. It should be 4. Thank you for that. It's 1 over 10. Gets na po ba? Is everything clear so far? Show me your reaction, please. Very good. Okay, good. At least everything is okay. So, okay na. Ganun lang yun. Evaluating. Next, factoring. Okay, eto naman. A while ago, as if you just noticed, a while ago, we did the table of values. But you know what? I don't like doing the table of values because I need to substitute 6 values which are decimals na nakakatagal. Ang tagal ginagawa kasi it takes too much of my time to solve it kasi ang dami mong isa-substitute. Where in fact, there is a simpler process. Do you want to learn that simpler process? Show me your reaction if you want to learn that simpler process. Instead of doing the table of values, merong mas madali. And that process is called the factoring method. Isi-simplify mo lang. Okay, let's have this. Let's take this as an example. Can you recall our given a while ago? Parang ito yata yung given natin. Plus lang yung nasa ilalim. Okay, let's do this. So we have the limit. Ibahin ko na lang. The limit of x squared plus 5x plus 6 over x plus 3 as x approaches -3. Ayan. Kasi gusto kong umiba doon sa given natin dito sa SLM para nakakakita ka ng ibang examples. Kasi itong nasa SLM, nakasolve na to. So you can always go back to the process or watch the video that we recorded for this para mas makakakita kayo ng maraming examples. Okay, now let's have this as our example. So, look at this. Oy, meron na nakapag-solve. Very good. What about the rest? If we will look at this, sabi ko nga sa inyo, the first thing that you need to look at when you do the limits or when you evaluate the limits is your denominator. Look at your denominator. It's x plus 3. After looking at your denominator, the next thing that you need to examine will be the value for x that it is approaching. Ano ba yung nilalapitan ng value ng x mo? And then, from here, you try to substitute. So by trying to substitute this will become -3 plus 3, and this will be equal to 0. This will be equal to 0. And so this will be undefined, of course. Now, katulad ng ginawa natin kanina, I don't want to deal with the table of values because I need to solve for so many values until I get the approximate value here. I don't want that because that's time consuming. So for us to have a simpler life with this, all I have to do is apply the factoring method. I just need to factor the given. Okay? And how is that? So for me to do it, I have to factor it first. So this will become, if a factor natin itong numerator natin. So we will have here the limit of, factor please, it's a trinomial. Of course, you will end up with two binomials. What are the factors of x squared plus 5x plus 6? Trial and error. Charles, got it. What about the rest? Christian, got it. What about the rest? Okay, your classmates are now sending their answers and they are getting the correct ones. Okay, very good. What about the rest? Kindly, even if you're not typing your answers in the chat box, I hope you're doing it in your papers. So let's do the process. First, factor this out. XX, X, and X. General trinomial. And always remember, isang technique. Kapag ganyan yung given, automatically, pwede talagang i-factor yan. Ganyan ang sekreto ng math. Pwedeng i-factor yan. Okay? So, this can be factored. So, therefore, after that, let's factor the next one, the 6. What are the factors of 6? We're in when we combine them or when we do the process, the checking process, we will end up with 5x. What are those? So we have 3 and 2, correct? 3 and 2. What should be their signs so that we will end up with positive 5x? What should be their signs? They should be both positives, correct? Positive and positive. Okay, and then the rest copy. X plus 3 as x approaches -3. Okay, after the factoring method, my most favorite process. Wow, pareho. X plus 3 sa numerator and x plus 3 in the denominator. We can cancel that out. So therefore, we will just end up with the limit of x plus 2 as x approaches negative 3. Now that it's simplified, there will be no fear of having an undefined answer. So by substituting, we will have here negative 3 plus 2 is equal to negative 1. And that's the value for your limits. Can you follow? Show me a reaction if that's clear to you. Show me a reaction, please. Very good. So if you will be asked, kindly open your chat box. If you will be asked, if ever you encounter a given wherein there will be an undefined value kasi the denominator will be equal to 0, which do you prefer to use? A, B, C, ha? A, B, C. A, I prefer the table of values. B, I prefer the factoring method. Or C, I would like to try both. Go. A, B, or C? Walang D. A, B, C lang. Okay? Thank you. Thank you so much. So again, I presented to you different processes. Whichever makes you comfortable to use, then use that. That's not a problem. Okay? Very good. Let's continue. So that's the factoring method. Paulit-ulit lang yan. Same process. Okay. What about this? Okay. Eto naman. This is cute. Ito, pinapahaba. Okay. This. So, okay na yon. Do you want another example for the factoring method or okay na yon? Magpa-factor lang. So, we need to go back to our factoring skills. Oh, another. But if we have, gawin natin to. This one. So we have here, evaluate the limit of x minus 2 and x cubed minus 8 as x approaches 2. Okay, sige nga. Go. This is patterned with this example number 2 in page 9 of your SLM. So this is the cube of difference of 2 cubes. Difference of 2 cubes. Game. So therefore, let's again, just like what I told you, first is you have to check your denominator and your value for x that it approaches. So by substituting, this will become 2 cubed minus 8, and that's 8 minus 8, and that will be equal to 0. So you know that it will be undefined. What do you think will we do? Factoring method. Here, take note of this process. Difference of 2 cubes. Sige nga, follow the pattern. If the rest already, and if you're done, kindly show me your answer in the chat box. Okay, one of your classmates already sent me her answers. 2 classmates sent their answers. Okay, let's see. What about the rest? The rest are still solving. Okay, gawin na natin. 0. Tignan natin. So we will have here the limit of x minus 2. Of course, x minus 2 cannot be factored anymore. That's already it. However, in here we have x cubed minus 8. So this is difference of 2 cubes. So for us to do this, all we have to do is to factor it. And ang factor nito, ibang klase. Isang binomial at isang trinomial. And how is that? First is to extract the cube root of each term. The cube root of x cubed is x. And the cube root of negative 8 is negative 2. Can you follow? Okay. And then all we have to do is to get the square of this. Get the square of your first term. So we will have The square root of x is x squared. Okay? And then, you have to multiply it and then change the sign. Okay? The first and the second term, x times -2, that's -2x. Change the sign, it becomes positive 2x plus 2x. And then, square the last term, it becomes plus 4 as x approaches 2. And so, we can now cancel this out. What's left in the numerator will just be 1. And so, we will end up with the limit of 1 over x squared plus 2x plus 4 as x approaches 2. Now, when you do the substitution, it will never be undefined anymore. So, let's do that. This will become, ayun, na-realize na. Okay, so this will become 1. Don't forget that there's 1 in the numerator, huh? 1 over substitute. This will become 2 squared plus 2 times 2 plus 4. So this will we will end up with 1 over 4 plus 4 plus 4, and this is equal to 1 over 12. That's it. Can you follow? And that's by factoring method. Show me a reaction based on how you understood that example. Very good. Okay. Thank you so much. So that's it. We're done with the factoring method. Now, what if it's not, it's a different given because there is a rational, there is a radical in the denominator. So what will we do? All we have to do is to apply rationalization method. Again, we will apply this if your denominator will become undefined and there is a radical in your denominator. Let's have this as an example. Ready? Rationalization method tayo. Okay. If we have the limit of x minus 5 over the square root of x minus 5 as x approaches 25. Okay. Again, we will only do this if there is a denominator wherein when you extract or when you simplify it, the answer will be 0. Let's just try. Substitute. This will become square root of 25 minus 5. And that's 5 minus 5. And this will be equal to 0. Can you follow? So this is undefined again. So instead of doing that long process of table of values, actually you can solve this using table of values. However, ayoko yung table of values kasi ang daming ginagawa. Paggawa lang ng table, mauubos na oras ko. Mag-substitute pa ako. Better yet, I'll just learn this rationalization method. Okay? So, what will I do with this? All I have to do is to rationalize it by getting its conjugate. Are you familiar with that? That's grade 8 lesson. Rationalizing your equation. Okay? Gawin na natin. Are you ready? So, for us to do this, to do the rationalizing, so we will have